Good evening, everyone. We're Jonas and Sebastien from Belgium. We're students that follow a course called Devacht. That's 50% development and 50% design. Myself, I am 19 years old, and my companion is
22 years old.
all right. So today we're going to explain our group project that we created. It's called Frankenstein. Um, so yeah. Um, Here you have our contact information if you want to contact us, of course. So let's talk about projects. The project was an assignment when the teacher gave us. They said middle schoolers don't read enough books, so let's organize a contest where teachers can download a book, send in a book report and a cool class photo, and the judge can choose a winning book, a winning report, and the users can the classes can win 100 books for their school. The website also needed to be supported by an animated video, and the admin needed to validate the entries. What we needed to deliver was a responsive website, an animated video. Every entry needed to be stored in a database, and there also needed to be a content management system. The time frame of the total project was 2 weeks. That meant from concept to final project, we only had 2 weeks, so it had to be done really quick. The sharing the workload was I created most of the design and the front-end development. My friend Sebastien did most of the CMS. He used React and JavaScript. He also used back-end development, PHP, and he made the animated video as well. Let's talk a little about the design. Now I'll show you my starboard. I mostly was inspired by the 3-color combination and the simplicity of shapes, which I used into my header. Then I created some sketches. The initial sketch was good looking at first, but when I created the final line art, it wasn't that good, so I restarted again and drew some African masks. And after I drew some African masks, I was inspired and I got to create the final version of it. Now I'll do a small demo of the website. All right, when you see, this is the website itself, this is a header. I want to recreate a really good header so the user is directly in the mood and the style of the website. So it's like the scene of Frankenstein coming alive. The viewport is not that good. All right, this is better. So when you scroll down, you have a little more information about the website itself, and it's supported by an animated video. I'll play the animated video.
Ben je een leerkracht Nederlands en op zoek naar een nieuwe uitdaging voor jou en je klas, maar ben je de klassiekers uit het oog verloren? Daarom presenteert Boek.be Frankenstein. Lees en ontdek samen met je klas het verhaal van de wetenschapper die leven probeerde te scheppen. Wil je deelnemen? Download het boek, maak een boekbespreking en stuur ons je boekverslag met een toffe klasfoto door en maak kans op 100 gratis boeken voor jouw school. Waar wacht je op? Doe mee op www.klassiekers.be.
All right, so that pretty much covers the whole campaign. Unfortunately, it's in Dutch, so you English people don't understand it, but yeah. So the next part of the website is what should I do? It covers more of what the user should do to enter his entry. So at first you need to download the book as a teacher, then you need to make a book report, and then you need to send in the result with the cool class picture. I visualized this because it's more interesting to look at an image than just read a block of text. Next on is a quote. The quotes were required by the teacher, so I was inspired to create several scenes of the book and use them as a cool divider to break the website and give it more structure. Then that's a little more about the prize you can win and what you should do. Also a call to action to the enter and download. After that, you have some classes that already entered the contest. So maybe you can see, if you're lucky, you can see your own class in it. Each of them has its own frame. So when you enter a book report, you can choose a frame to make it more customizable for the user to enter a book report. I'll show you the responsiveness of the site itself. All right, so this is viewed on a 400 pixel width. Okay. So I'll scale it like this. So we mostly used SAS for the CSS. It was really hard to create the responsive website because of the most random sparks and stuff. There are a lot of meaningless elements in the website, so I needed to unhide or hide them all. So yeah, here's like an iPad version of it. We also used Flexbox, one of the newest CSS technologies. So yeah, when we come to an iPhone, most of the useless elements are disappeared, but a couple of them stayed to let the mood in. All right, next page. That's a little more information about the book, also with small header and stuff. Then we have a little fragment about the text of the book. You can, if you don't know the book, you can have a small intro about it. Yeah, if you want, you can read it. Then you have the option to download the book as a teacher. You just need to fill in your first name, your last name, and your email address. It gets checked if you're a teacher, if the is from a school of Flanders. After that, we have a little more information about the author itself, and also a required quote, which visualizes 2 scenes of the book itself. Then we have some reviews of a journalist about the book. I'll show you the responsiveness of this. So yeah. And also the iPhone version. Sort of smartphone version. All right, my friend is going to talk a little bit more about the development side of the project.
So I'm going to quickly talk about the front-end development, the back-end development, and how we finally did the content management system. For the front-end development, of course, we used HTML5 and CSS and JavaScript. For the CSS, we used SAS to pre-process the CSS, and Babel for the JavaScript, where we could use, for example, arrow functions or class keywords instead of like an entire dot prototype to make it easier to write the JavaScript. We used Webpack to compile all these languages into the right files. And finally, in order to make this project work, we used NPM to install the required packages. For the backend development, we used the micro PHP framework Slim. This is because it is a small project, and using a big framework would be like overkill. It would be too heavy. So we used a small framework where we could easily create routes. For example, in this code, we simply did a GET request to the route /home, and between the brackets you could just easily receive a request, execute an action, and return a response. For the second part of the backend, for example, here we receive a request where we use the method getParsedBody, which was implemented by Slim framework, to receive the form data. This form data was then sent to a DAO, where we executed a query. If this query was successful, we received a response back. This was, for example, a true or entire or data. Then for the last part of the backend, this is like a small code of the entire system. we received a response. With this response, we also added that the content type should be JSON, so it is easy readable by JavaScript fetch command. And we also added a status. The status could be, for example, 404, not found, 201, which would be created. Then for the content management system, we used React. Why? Because it was required for the project. We used, in this React application, we made use of states and properties. Like properties are more like attributes you give to a component, and states make sure that the component is updated with certain requirements. And we used the isomorphic fetch command to get the data from APIs we wrote using the Slim framework. The admin could then approve the submissions that were sent to him by the users and finally follow up on the different orders. So I'm going to give a quick demo of the content management system. So if the admin simply types in admin, he comes to on the CMS, where he logs in. This is also validated. Then if he enters the content management system, he sees the different sendings by the user. The sendings are can be filtered, for example, which were approved, which were disapproved, which were pending. For example, you want to know what's pending. Then it is refreshed. There's only one page refresh that's in the beginning. When all the data is loaded, using React render system, we could easily determine what data is taken from the database to simply replace the previous data. Then if the user wants to see more information about one of the sendings, he can easily go to info, then see the different, the extra information about the sending. Here you can also insert a score to determine the winner. For example, 5 out of 5, and then now if I want to change the score, I simply need to take another number and change it. If I haven't inserted a number, then it is, as you saw, inserted, else it is edited. The average score is updated here and is also shown on the listing that you previously saw. Here the admin can also download the book report, so you can see, and change the status to either disapproved or approved. If it's approved, it is shown on the website. If it's disapproved, it is not shown and not corrected. For example, it is approved, and this will be shown on the website. As a final note on this content management system, the admin can also see the different orders that were done by the users. If a user wants to download the book, it gets in here, and they receive a code. This code they can use to send in their book report. This way we validate if the user really did read our book called Frankenstein. There's also a small filter on the left just on to filter to sort on date or search a certain email. This was our presentation. I hope everything was clear. Are there any questions?
Round of applause.